Most people believe you need millions to escape work, but Kevin O'Leary, who has a net worth of $400 million, says $500,000 can buy true financial freedom. He argues that opulence is a trap and that real wealth is waking without an alarm clock. If the dream really were that simple, why does almost everyone get it wrong, and what is the catch that could ruin the plan? Kevin O'Leary built his fortune by asking hard questions about money. He is known for sharp suits, blunt advice, and a relentless focus on what actually works. But when it comes to retirement, his answer is nothing like the usual millionaire fantasy. Instead of chasing luxury cars or private jets, O'Leary points to a single figure: $500,000. Not $1 million, not $10 million. $500,000 managed with discipline is the number he says can buy real freedom. This is not about trading up to a mansion or filling a garage with sports cars. It is about clarity, knowing exactly what it costs to live a life that lets you wake up naturally, without the jolt of an alarm clock or the dread of another day spent working for someone else. O'Leary's own net worth is around $400 million, yet he argues the dream of financial independence is not reserved for the ultra-wealthy. It is about autonomy, not excess. He puts it simply: you can quit working and live comfortably with $500,000 in the bank as long as you manage it smartly. For O'Leary, the real measure of wealth is the ability to control your own time, true autonomy. The permission to step off the treadmill comes not from a lottery ticket or a windfall, but from understanding what you actually need. The headline number is smaller than most people expect, but the promise behind it is enormous. Freedom from the grind and the peace of mind that comes from knowing you are living life on your own terms. A single number, $500,000, only matters if it holds up to the math. O'Leary's approach is simple. Invest that sum and let compounding do the heavy lifting. In the most cautious scenario, fixed income options like high-yield savings accounts or government bonds pay about 5% today. That yields $25,000 a year. The money lands in your account whether you are working or not. The core rule is never touching the original $500,000. The principle stays intact, acting as a financial engine that keeps producing income year after year. For those willing to take on a bit more risk, a balanced mix of stocks and bonds has historically returned closer to 9%. That produces about $45,000 a year in passive income. These figures are not guesses, they are anchored in decades of market data. The S&P 500, for example, has averaged over 10% annual returns since the late 1980s, even after accounting for inflation and down years. The approach is about preservation, not depletion. The goal is to live on the yield and let the principal ride. This is not about draining savings or gambling on big wins. It is about generating a steady stream of passive income, money that arrives whether you're on the clock or not. With $25,000 to $45,000 a year, the next question becomes, what kind of life does that actually buy? That is where the numbers meet reality. Stacking investment income with Social Security transforms the numbers. For a single retiree, the average Social Security benefit in 2026 is just under $1,977 a month, or $23,700 a year. Combined with $25,000 from a conservative $500,000 portfolio, that is nearly $49,000 in annual income, without ever touching the principal. A couple where both partners qualify for Social Security sees an even bigger boost. Together, their benefits average close to $47,500 a year. Add in $25,000 to $45,000 from investments, and total household income ranges from roughly $72,000 to $92,000. This is not a hypothetical windfall, it is the real math millions of everyday retirees use to build a stable foundation. Social Security acts as a safety net, turning investment yield into a dependable income stream that covers more than just the basics. For many, this combined cash flow is the difference between scraping by and living with confidence. The numbers set the stage for a lifestyle that is modest, but fully within reach, especially for those who have paid off their home and kept debts low. Retirement on $500,000 does not mean a life of sacrifice. It means making choices that put control back in your hands. In towns like McAllen, Texas, or Knoxville, Tennessee, where the cost of living is well below the national average, a couple with paid-off housing and no debt can stretch $70,000 a year into comfort and calm. There is no mortgage draining the monthly budget, and no car payment keeping you up at night. Groceries come from your own kitchen, not from takeout apps, and vacations are planned for value, not status. This puts more choice into your day, and it buys real freedom. The emotional payoff is real. Waking up without an alarm clock becomes the new normal. You decide how to spend your mornings, whether that is tending a garden, walking the dog, or reading the news at your own pace. The fear of running out of money fades when expenses are low and income arrives automatically. For many, this clarity is worth more than any luxury car. The enough lifestyle isn't about going without, it's about removing the pressure to chase more and finding satisfaction in what you have already built. In the right place, with the right habits, $500,000 can buy the most valuable thing of all, your freedom. A retirement plan built on $500,000 only works if the numbers hold up in the real world. The most important guardrail is inflation. Prices do not stand still, and neither can your portfolio. To keep your spending power intact, analysts point to a minimum real growth target of 3% per year. That means your investments need to outpace inflation, not just deliver a flat dollar yield. This is where the 4% rule comes in. Developed from decades of market history, it suggests you can withdraw 4% of your starting balance each year, adjusted for inflation, and expect your money to last at least 30 years. For a $500,000 portfolio, that is $20,000 in the first year, with future withdrawals rising alongside the cost of living. Historical studies show this approach succeeds more than 90% of the time, even through market crashes and high inflation periods. Experts warn, though, that pushing withdrawals to 5% or more increases the risk of running out of money, especially if markets stumble early in retirement. The math is clear. The line between comfort and risk is razor thin, and the discipline to stay within these benchmarks is what keeps the plan solvent. Certified financial planners and retirement researchers often take a more cautious view than celebrity investors. The consensus among professionals is that $500,000 can work, but only if certain guardrails are in place. The 4% rule, born from decades of market simulations, suggests $20,000 a year is sustainable for 30 years, but that number comes with conditions. Sequence of returns risk, where bad market years hit early, can quickly shrink a nest egg. Vanguard studies recommend holding a year or two of living expenses in cash, $25,000 to $50,000 on the sidelines to avoid selling investments during downturns. This simple buffer can boost the odds of success by up to 10% in volatile markets. Location plays a major role. In cities like San Francisco or New York, even a careful budget cannot stretch $70,000 as far as it does in Knoxville or McAllen. High cost of living, state taxes and healthcare premiums can quickly erode the comfort promised by the math. Healthcare in particular is a wild card. And out-of-pocket expenses for a retired couple average $6,000 a year with Medicare, but can spike with chronic illness or long-term care needs. Experts urge ongoing portfolio growth of at least 3% after inflation, not just a flat yield, to keep pace with rising costs. For those willing to relocate or downsize, $500,000 plus Social Security remains a viable path. But the plan demands discipline, flexibility, and a clear-eyed look at the risks. Right now, over half of Americans have less than $100,000 saved for retirement. The real shift is not chasing millions, it is redefining what is truly enough. When peace of mind becomes the goal, autonomy, not opulence, is the new benchmark for wealth. The question is, what would you do with your time if you owned it?